Hello and welcome to News Central Now. I am Dakbo Adigboye. The top stories at this hour. President Bola Tinubu to mark May 29th anniversary with address to joint session of the National Assembly. Now Mali junta arrest ally of Prime Minister. Chad government announces new ministers. Details in a moment. Let's begin by telling you that President Bola Tinubu will address a joint sitting of the National Assembly on Wednesday. The clerk to the National Assembly, Sani Tambowal, in a statement said the president will address the lawmakers on state of the nation and commission of the NAS Library. Tinubu, who was sworn in on May 29, 2023, will mark his first anniversary in office on Wednesday. The Tinubu-led administration introduced some reforms like petrol subsidy removal and unification of the foreign exchange windows, but continues to battle the effects of such policies, with soaring rates in inflation and high cost of living. Now, the president's handling of the state of the economy has attracted criticism from many Nigerians, including elder statesmen and the organized labor, like the Nigeria Labour Congress and the Trade Union Congress. The governor of Plateau State, has unveiled a dashboard digital performance scorecard system of the state development framework. At the brief unveiling ceremony, the governor said it is the cordial step in the state to drive progress, efficiency and effectiveness in government. Now, News Central's Chizoba Nyonwe was there and now tells us this.
The federal government had led the way with a similar initiative to basically hold public office holders accountable for the positions they hold and expectations from members. Now, Plateau State has toed the line, becoming the very first state in the federation to roll out this innovation, a scorecard application for effectiveness and efficiency in work delivery.
The SRDO and the development of this app is crucial in a time like this, because the world at large is holding on to accountability, transparency, and strategy in planning and results-driven decision-making.
Would there be challenges ahead? Governor Motfwang is optimistic that this development would address all circumstances in the line of duty.
The SRDO would also ensure a meaningful conceptual framework towards identifying and addressing all obstacles and challenges, tracking progress, and measuring the performance of all the MDAs and ministries.
Allaying the fears of those who believe the performance scorecard is a tool for witch hunting, the government said it is rather to check the activities of public office holders for better service delivery.
There's nothing being imposed on anybody, but everybody along the chain of command will be responsible and be commissioner. Governor will demand from commissioner will demand from permanent secretary and so on and so forth. That is how governance is going to be. And everything is going to be open. Even the governor's office is on the platform.
Even if you're not on seat, you can be able to advance some information to the government. It tells you how effective utilization of government resources and budgetary, which is all geared towards effective result.
It's about us now to measure, because the leader of this mantra is not relying on his horse, is ensuring that things are moving the right way. So I believe you that the crop of team he has, we will sustain this and it will continue.
It is common knowledge that public office has always had a challenge of poor service delivery. How far this innovation will go in addressing that challenge is what everyone will have to patiently wait to see. In Jos for News Central, Chizoba Anyonwe.
The governor of Delta State, southern Nigeria, Sheriff Oborevori, has revealed that the immediate past governor of the state, Ifeanyi Okowa, doesn't influence decisions of governance in the oil-rich Niger Delta State. Members of opposition parties in the state urged the governor to appoint capable individuals, among them to advance the state's development. News Central's correspondent Austin Azu in this report seeks appraisal of the governor's 1 year in office.
Governor Sheriff Oborevwori was sworn in on May 29, 2023, alongside other governors across Nigeria. He was the 5th democratically elected governor in Delta State. The governor was the immediate past Speaker of the State House of Assembly, where he piloted the House affairs for 6 years. He was elected on the platform of the People's Democratic Party, and he hails from Osubi in Okwe local government area of Delta Central senatorial district of the state.
The tasks you face are tough, the choices not easy, but with your support and prayers, we shall get the job done.
1 year later, how has Governor Oborevwori managed the state resources and provided the people with good governance?
And let me also remind you that he has not borrowed a dime from anywhere. And he's still paying, taking care of what he met on ground. So please, this man has done well. We're not just singing praises of him. And I will tell you anytime, even in my dream, that Governor Sheriff is the Moses of our time.
Everything he has done since his assumption of office, he has done very well. And it's a governor that carries everybody along. You can see the unity in the state since he came. He's been trying to bring everybody together. The man is a wonderful man, a Toknadu governor, a governor that knows his onion. He knows what he's doing.
But this APC senator wants Governor Oborevwori to emulate Nigeria's President Bola Tinubu, who appointed members of other political parties in his cabinet to advance the nation's development.
I'm waiting for the day where I will see him appointing credible members of the opposition to cabinet in Delta State, not only PDP members. In this country at this point in time where everything is not going very well, we need a cross-fertilization of ideas. It is only when we do that that we can move this country from one point to the other.
Meanwhile, Governor Oborevwori is here alongside top political stakeholders in the state, including 2 former governors, Emmanuel Odwaga and Ifeanyi Okowa, to mark the 1st anniversary Thanksgiving of his administration. Governor Oborevwori recounted how God gave him victory from the pre to post-election in the 2023 general elections, while pledging to advance the state's development through his more agenda. Oborevwori debunked Ifeanyi Okowa's influence in the governance of the state against speculations of his involvement in his administration. The governor disclosed that his administration has turned the state into a huge construction site with 317 projects initiated across the state.
There are 317 ongoing road projects all over the state. Out of these, 76 roads with a cumulative length of 171.49 kilometers and 85.30 length of drains were initiated by this administration. Few days from now, we shall commence the commissioning of some of these roads and other projects in other sectors for the world to see what we have accomplished in 1 year by the grace of God.
The governor and his wife were joined by guests, including his deputy, to make special thanksgiving to God and thereafter cut the anniversary cake. In Asaba, for News Central, Austin Azu.
We'll go on a quick break. When we return, we have more stories. Stay with us. Supporters of the deposed Emir of Kano, Aminu Ado Bayero, took to the streets of the city, calling for his reinstatement. Kano High Court on Monday ordered Aminu Ado Bayero to cease parading himself as the 15th Emir of Kano, and also directed the police to evict him from the mini palace at the State Road. Now, the development happened as a large group of young protesters marched through the streets of Kano, expressing their discontent with the deposition of Bayero. Our correspondent Emmanuel Bagudu is in Kano State, where he will bring us up to speed. Emmanuel, thank you for joining in. Can you, of course, tell us what the current state of affairs is in Kano right now?
Yeah, thank you. Good afternoon from Kano. Yeah, actually, I just left the Emir's palace now. The Emir is still sitting in this mini palace at Gidan Sarkina Nasarawa, and of course, the police are still guarding him. I would like to say that the police have actually disobeyed the court order, because there was a court order this morning that the police are expected to evict him from that particular mini palace. So, but that is not happening. They are there and they are protecting him. The police only managed to send away his supporters, who have always been at the premises of the palace. So the protesters, the supporters got angry for being sent away from the palace, and then they decided to start protesting this morning. So, but for now, the place is scanty, and the police, the DSS, and the soldiers are there still guiding him. In fact, we witnessed a couple of members of the State House of Assembly from the minority wing. 12 of them just came in this afternoon to visit the Emir. We took that live around 1 or 2 p.m. I think. News Central took that live, where the members of the House of Assembly members who voted against his dethronement came in to visit him. So he's there and he's busy receiving visitors, including the members of House of Assembly, and a lot of dignitaries are trooping into the house, to visit him.
Well, if of course I got you correctly, Emmanuel, you said that the police, maybe the DSS is there protecting the deposed emir, but Kano High Court has actually ordered the police to evict him from the palace. What do we make of this?
Yes, that's true. That's why I said authoritatively we can say that the police are actually disobeying the court order, because we try to get to the Commissioner of Police to find out why are they not vacating the entire premises, the Gidan Nasarawa premises. Why are they still there? But unfortunately, we couldn't get him online to speak to us. But as I speak to you, the police are still guarding him. You remember 2 days ago, the Commissioner of Police made it clear to us that his duty is to obey court order, whether wrong or right. So we expected to see the early morning court order that orders the eviction of Aminu Adovero from the Gidan Nasarawa Palace to take place. But that didn't happen. So, in fact, but at least they managed to send away his supporters, who got angry and started protesting. So, So for now, we can say that the police are yet to obey the orders of the Kano State High Court that says Aminu Adobera should be evicted.
All right, Emmanuel Bagudu, thank you for the update, and please stay safe. Now, still on this particular issue, I'm joined on the news by a legal practitioner, Toho Oseruvoja. He joins me from the United Kingdom. Toho, thank you for joining. Now, with the unfolding events in Kano State, what is the legality of the order granted by the Federal High Court?
Well, thank you for having me this afternoon. Well, if you look at it carefully, you discover that from the constitutional aspect, it has been argued that the Federal High Court does not have jurisdiction to hear issues emanating from chieftaincy or local government affairs, which is within the purview of the state. But however, there is a principle of law that works in every jurisdiction that is governed by democracy, and which is, no matter how bad a court order should be, jurisdiction or no jurisdiction, it is the duty of everybody to accept such order. You may not agree with it, but you must accept it. And by accepting that order is to work in line with that order. So I'll tell you categorically, because we've not seen the substance upon which the order was granted. All we just saw is the said order. And if you look at section 251 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended, you discover that, well, the jurisdiction of the Federal High Court is clearly spelled out. But that should be the legal argument for both parties, for both councils who will be engaged for such services. But however, the order is still legal until it's set aside or it is contested and it is challenged. So that Federal High Court order still stands.
Now, can the recent order granted by the Kano State High Court overrule the earlier granted, directive by the Federal High Court, even though you insist that it still stands?
Well, this has actually exposed the weakness of the judiciary institution per se, if I may say. But if you look at it carefully, you discover that the Federal High Court and the State High Court are court of coordinate jurisdiction. When we use coordinate jurisdiction, that means of court of equal powers and equal rights, but are restricted by issue of jurisdiction as to the subject matter. Do you understand? And if you look at it carefully, it may be argued that the parties differ. The subject matter is not the same because this particular order is asking the police to evacuate the deposed emir and the 5 others, or they should evacuate their district. If you look at it from the legal point of view, discover that it is basically the same subject matter. The same subject matter, because the rest in the issue is the emirship. Who becomes, or who is the emir of Kano, who is to stay and who is to leave. So I won't say it's an abuse of court process. There might be reason because the law develops every day. So we won't be surprised that maybe this will prompt further jurisprudence or further areas of law to be looked into. But the Kano High Court, the Kano State High Court order that was granted on the 27th of May, which was yesterday, cannot, I repeat, cannot overrule. And let me make it clear to everyone. If there are conflict, if there are equity in a particular issue, the first in time prevail, irrespective of how and who issued such an order. So I think as a lawyer, I think the Kano State High Court order cannot overrule the one of the Federal High Court. And if the police, let me use the word, if the police is to obey any, the first in time prevail. And if I say the first in time, which is you look at the one of the Federal High Court, which was granted on the 25th of May, and that has not been set aside.
So if I'm to take you by what you said,
yes.
You are saying that the police, which of course according to the State High Court has directed, the police to actually evacuate the army, to evict the army, to evict the emir from the palace. You are saying right now that they are not, in any way contravening the constitution or the directive.
For the police not to act, like I told you, if there are 2 conflicting orders, the first in time prevail, and there's equal equity. When I use the word conflicting orders and equal equity, the 2 prevail. Because if those 2 orders are to be enforced, you see that anarchy will be let loose. And the law does not create that anarchy. That is where, like I told you, this has actually exposed the legal, that is the judiciary as an institution to see, okay, well, is it that the other parties or the custodians of the temple of justice, which are the lawyers who are basically the key players now in these circumstances, would have advised parties on the appropriate step to take? Do you understand? But you could see that the police as an institution has their legal department, and they will work based on the advice of the legal department. And just like I told you, there are 2 orders. Which of them would they obey? Is it the recent one or the first one? And remember, these 2 orders are from court of coordinate jurisdiction. Though they are principles of law, if actually the order that the Kano State, that the second order of 27, if it's an order emanating from the Court of Appeal, obviously the police has no choice but to be bound by that particular order. But this order is coming from the State High Court, which have same coordinate jurisdiction, same powers like the Federal High Court. So the police will be at the liberty. I think the police have not breached any constitutional provision. Neither have they breached the statutory provision establishing the functions and the duties of the police. So the police are only acting based on the order they choose they want to work on. They have that discretion in these circumstances, because if you look at it carefully now, you could see that if they want to implement this and the next and this, and they have coordinated this, anarchy will be let loose. The police is not an institution that encourages such anarchy. I'm not speaking for them, but as a lawyer.
Point made, Toho. But in 30 seconds, before I let you go, this is a cultural traditional issue. Do you see an avenue where this particular issue can be resolved in that line? as against going through, the route of the judicial system or, modern practices?
Okay, well, there's no way. If you look at, 30 seconds, let me round it up. If you look at the northern Nigeria, and if you look at the era of the colonial regime or the colonial era, the successes recorded thus far in the colonial era is as a result of the monarchy system of government that is already in structure, that was already in place in the north. So you cannot take that from the north. But however, this has been overtaken by events with the advent of of democracy, with the advent of law. This too is now a status of law. It's now a creation of law. The law can let me use this one clearly. The law can decide, the House of Assembly can decide to say, okay, well, today we don't want any emirate in Kano State, and that stands. So there is no way it can be resolved without we looking at the law. Do you understand? So, but however, it behoves on the actors. Who are the actors? You look at the legislative, that is the House of Assembly members. Then you also look at the governor to look at how possible they can resolve this issue. Looking at long history of how the monarchy system has helped the North thus far.
All right, Toho. Thank you so much for your time on the news.
Thank you.
All right. Now, a two-day Justice Sector Summit kicked off in Lagos, providing a platform for justice sector stakeholders and experts to chart a new course for justice delivery in the country. At the summit, the Lagos State Governor and Chief Host Babajide Sanwo-Olu emphasized the need for pragmatic solutions that align with global best practices to ensure efficient access to and administration of justice. Now, News Central's Niyomoni has more.
The Justice Reform Summit, organized by the Justice Reform Consortium in partnership with the Lagos State Government, brought together over 300 participants, including judges, lawyers, and international development partners amidst other judicial sector experts. The focus is on the enhancement of the administration of justice for economic growth, investment protection, and security in Lagos State.
It is a common saying that justice delayed is justice denied. Therefore, there is no guarantee or assurance of access to justice. Economic growth will not be sustainable. Justice must not only be done, but it must be seen to be done.
Therefore, we have a duty to make the citizenry also understand the legal system, particularly its workings, so that with that, they will have more confidence in the system. They will be able to make robust contributions to how the system can work.
Discussions on key issues such as access to justice, case management efficiency, transparency and accountability in the justice system, and the use of technology for justice delivery were brought to the fore by experts on best global practices.
This underlies the overriding need for closer collaboration, cooperation, and mutual understanding in the performance of our respective constitutional and statutory responsibilities.
At the end of this summit, it is expected that stakeholders will recommend lawful ways and means to address delayed justice. It is my desire that civil cases in our courts should not last more than 18 months from date of commencement of the action, and 6 months in case of simple recovery of debt, and 3 months in cases of recovery of arrears of rent and possession of premises.
In his remarks, the Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu called the summit timely, noting that justice sector reform was critical to the country's democratic progress.
You are the last hope of a poor man, of a middleman, and of a rich man. Let's use this engagement to truly, really be able to reform this sector. Because if you get this calling right, it will be the beginning of getting this nation right. And if you get this nation right, indeed you've gotten the largest percentage of the black nation right. The call is on you.
The 2 days Justice Reform Consortium will produce a communique at the end of the summit highlighting priority areas for reform. Consequently, a follow-up will commence with relevant stakeholders to ensure the implementation of the recommendations. In Lagos for News Central, Ni Omoni.
The Odoyala Road Channel, a vital waterway in our community, is undergoing significant changes. Now, these changes are according to the Permanent Secretary of Drainages Services, Olakune Adegbite, crucial for the safety, health, and future prosperity of the community. Now, News Central's Bettina Mweli tells us more.
The Odoyala Road Channel is essential for managing floodwaters and supporting local ecosystems. It plays a crucial role in preventing flooding, which can cause extensive damage to homes, infrastructure, and even loss of life. Over the years, illegal structures and waste have obstructed the channel, reducing its capacity to manage floodwaters effectively. This has led to environmental degradation.
For the Office of Drainage Services, basically, if we mark your building, it's simply because your building is within the right-of-way of drainage channel and is obstructing normal flow of water. Now, the thing is, if we allow one or two properties to block drainage, imagine the backlog. How do you justify it when majority are suffering because of one or two persons' action?
To address these issues, the government has initiated a demolition process to clear the Odoyala Road Channel. This action, though difficult, is necessary to restore the channel's capacity and protect our community. Clearing the channel will bring numerous benefits and would significantly reduce the risk of flooding, improve water quality, and enhance local biodiversity.
No matter how you want to disguise it, they're actually within the wetland. If animals that are in their own habitats are coming to disturb you, that you think you are in your... So it shows that you have gone to meet them. However, to address the issue of what is the plan is simple. Right now, we want to claim the right-of-way of the Odoyala Road Channel, which is, by the way, System 1 amongst our various channels. We have over 190 channels, and that particular one is the very first one. So that tells you the importance of that channel. So if you notice that there is an overhead bridge being constructed right from Okwebi down to Ojota as first phase, the second phase is going to go from that point up to Gudu. Not only that, the channel in its right frame, it ought to be navigable, which we will bring everything back to normal.
Everyone has a role to play in this effort. You too can help by ensuring that waste is disposed of properly and by not erecting illegal structures near the channel. Protecting the environment should be a collective responsibility. By keeping the channel clean, we are protecting our homes and our future. In Lagos, for News Central, Bettina Mweli.
The First Lady of Nigeria, Oluremi Tinubu, has expressed government's commitment to supporting the nation's youths and ensuring their inclusion in governance. The First Lady made this known at an event to celebrate the resilience and determination of youths across the country as part of the May 29th first-year anniversary of the current administration. News Central's Amadine Uyi tells us more.
The event was tagged honoring the youth of our nation and had in attendance the First Lady of Nigeria, including other senior government officials. The First Lady commended Nigerian youths for their resilience and determination in handling the challenges affecting the nation.
The theme of today's event, Becoming Pathway to Success. This theme is apt and captures the very essence of why we are here. From what has been shared so far, you all have demonstrated the importance of purpose, passion, determination, resilience, and shown to us what is possible.
She expressed government's commitment to supporting youths and ensuring they are given adequate opportunity to participate in governance.
It is noteworthy that the administration of His Excellency President Bola Tinubu, GCFR, has been exceptionally youth-friendly. The administration has demonstrated commitment to youth inclusion in empowerment and governance. This is evident in the unprecedented appointment of young leaders as ministers, heads of agencies and parastatals.
After a panel session with some exceptional youths who have made remarkable progress in their endeavors, Nigerian youths far and wide were urged to continue to blaze the trail in their different professions and fields. They were also tasked to continue to believe in the nation.
To our young leaders, I urge you to continue striving for excellence, pushing boundaries, and never losing sight of the incredible potential that lies within you. You are Nigeria's heart and soul, and your spirit will drive us towards a future filled with hope, unity, and progress.
In my own capacity, I will continue to support and encourage you all, particularly through our efforts at the Renewed Hope Initiative, which is geared towards complementing the efforts of Mr. President in the areas of education, agriculture, social investment, and economic empowerment. I urge us to keep believing in Nigeria. By the grace of God, we will witness the rebirth of a new nation that will take its rightful place among the committee of nations.
The First Lady urged youth to continue to trust in education, saying it presents a pathway to immense opportunities. In Abuja for News Central, I am Amadine Uyi.
Stakeholders in the media and journalism subsector in Nigeria have called for strategic collaboration to unlock the vast potentials of artificial intelligence. This call was made in Abuja during the 2024 Journalism, Digital Tech and AI Dialogue hosted by the Center for Journalism, Innovation and Development. Now, News Central's Joshua Imarai has details.
It was a gathering of journalists, media professionals and tech experts in the nation's capital, Abuja. The event, which drew attendees from across the country, highlighted the intersection between artificial intelligence, media tech and journalism. Stakeholders at the gathering say there is a need for strategic collaboration to harness the enormous potentials of AI.
I absolutely think that we should be concerned. It is a tool like any other tool, and at the end of the day, AI is a subset of technology. But at the end of the day, we need to be intentional, we need to be collaborative, we need to be able to embrace technological advancements and educate the people who are going to be the guardians and the gatekeepers, and then also educate the general public. So the potential and the opportunities are enormous.
The need for adequate compensation for individuals whose data are being used in artificial intelligence model has sparked debate among AI professionals in recent times. While industry insiders say there is a growing demand for data from contributors, they say the industry must develop a workable plan to ensure they are properly rewarded.
It is something that will definitely happen with time. One of the things that will lead to such development is once we know the governance around data. Governance meaning essentially what works, okay? From the publisher side to the journalists and the likes of that, the civil society will all come into a conversation around what works. Once you do that, you create a framework for such a conversation to be followed up.
When we look at the long-term value, we should move from the very pedestrian, pay me, don't pay me conversation to what does a more commercially viable option look like for everybody, and how do we build a system that really allows for that? So that way, it's not just you chasing peanuts or you asking to be compensated in a way that you can't really use, but broadly, how do you connect us or everyone to the same opportunities or different opportunities where they can commercialize and where they can get more like monetary value.
They highlighted the importance of legislation to regulate and standardize the use of artificial intelligence, but warned stakeholders to be wary of the premature implementation of policies surrounding these areas, saying it could stifle the growth of the technology in the country. In Abuja for News Central, I am Joshua Imarai.
The Benin royal family has announced the suspension of Professor Greg Akenzua for allegedly defying the authority of the Oba of Benin. Professor Akenzua is challenging the authority of the Benin monarch to effect a previous suspension over his position as an anointed Duke of the Oba in the Federal High Court in Benin City. In a latest development, the palace maintains that the suspended Duke be barred from participating in all royal family activities, while all royal family members have been directed to cease all interactions with the suspended Duke until further notice.
After a careful review of the facts, the Benin royal family has decided as follows. Professor Gregory Duobu-Akenzwa is hereby suspended from the Benin royal family for his acts of rebellion against the Benin traditional institution. Professor Gregory Duobu-Akenzwa is no longer to participate in any activity connected with the Benin royal family. All members of the Benin royal family are strongly directed not to relate, associate, or engage with Professor Gregory Duobu-Akenzwa for as long he remains suspended from the Benin royal family.
Coming up on the news, Mali junta arrest ally of Prime Minister. We have details of this and more after now. The news continues in West Africa, where Boubacar Traoré, a close ally of Mali's civilian Prime Minister, Choguel Kokala Maïga, has been detained after their political movement openly criticized the West African nation's military rulers. The M5 REP movement on Friday released a strong statement against the Kanos who seized power in 2020, further extending their rule after they failed to meet a March deadline to hold elections and hand over power to a civilian government. The statement also opposed proposals to promote the colonels to the rank of generals and a launch talk with armed jihadists. Now, two sources confirmed that Traoré, who signed the statement, has been detained. A member of his entourage said he was taken by intelligence agents from his office in the building house in the Prime Minister's services. Guinea's main press union has threatened an unlimited general strike after ruling junta banned several major media outlets, the latest in a string of restrictions on press freedom. The authorities last week withdrew the operating licenses of radio stations FIM FM, Radio eSpace FM, Sweet FM, Joma FM, as well as Joma TV and eSpace TV, over a failure to comply with the content of the specifications. They justified the ban by saying they were guilty of frequent misconduct and violating human dignity without giving further details. In Central Africa, the government of Alamaye Alina, Chad's new prime minister, has been announced by the Secretary General of the Presidency, Mahamat Al-Habo, in N'Djamena. Now, this is coming 2 weeks after the May 6th presidential poll won by General Mahamat Idris Deby Itno, head of the junta that has been in power for 3 years. Mahamat named Abdurrahman as the foreign minister and government spokesperson, and Abdurrahman Hamid as the Minister of State, Justice and Human Rights.
Décret 002/PM 2024 sur proposition du Premier ministre, chef du gouvernement, le Président de la République, chef de l'État, Président du Conseil des ministres, a nommé les personnalités suivantes, membres du gouvernement et chargés des départements ci-après. Ministre des Affaires étrangères, de l'intégration africaine et des Tchadiens de l'étranger et de la coopération internationale, porte-parole du gouvernement, M. Abderrahmane Folamallah. Ministre d'État, ministre de la Justice et des Droits humains, garde des Sceaux, M. Abderrahim Breme Hamid.
Grieving locals have continued their search and rescue efforts at the site of a massive landslide that entombed a remote highland community in the early hours of May 24th in Nga Province, Papua New Guinea. Some 2,000 persons are feared buried by the deadly landslide. Since then, locals have been picking through a hellscape of meters-deep churned-up earth, uprooted trees and car-sized boulders in the search for loved ones. But hopes are dimming that anyone is alive underneath the mountain of rubble. United Nations Development Programme says it is very unlikely more survivors will be found, as thousands at risk from further slips were ordered to evacuate the area. The year 2024 has been a rollercoaster ride for the Nigerian Naira. The News Central's business correspondent, Perpetual Fasimi Peter, who has been tracking the Naira in the President Bola Tinubu's first year, reports that it has been a year of promises, pronouncement and policies aimed at taming inflation, stabilizing the exchange rate and also ultimately bringing some peace to the Nigerian Naira. But has the central bank achieved those goals under Governor Olayemi Cardoso? And of course, let's go to the world of sports, where global youth football powers Nigeria and Ghana will on Tuesday battle it out for the bronze medals of the ongoing WAFU B Under-17 Championship in Accra, Ghana. The Golden Eaglets were downed by Cote d'Ivoire's Baby Elephants, while the Starlets were beaten by the Baby Talents of Burkina Faso in the semi-final. But the West African Football Union still unable to provide clarity on the number of teams that will proceed to the 2025 Africa Under-17 Cup of Nations from WAFU B. General Secretary of the Nigeria Football Federation, Mohammed Sanusi, charged the Eaglets to go all out and execute the third-place encounter like a final match. The final match will see Burkina Faso take on Cote d'Ivoire at the University of Accra Stadium. Let's also tell you in the world of sports that the Boston Celtics will play in the NBA Finals after wrapping up a clean sweep in their Eastern Conference semifinal series against the Indiana Pacers. Jaylen Brown found Derek White to score a decisive three-pointer with 45 seconds left to play and seal a 105-102 win for the Celtics. It is the second time in 3 seasons they have reached the NBA Finals, as Boston, who will feature in the NBA Finals for the 23rd time in franchise history, have raced through their postseason fixtures, beating the Miami Heat, the Cleveland Cavaliers, and the Pacers with a 12-2 record. Now, they will face either the Dallas Mavericks or the Minnesota Timberwolves in the finals. Ahead of the 2025 FIFA World Cup qualifier, Equatorial Guinea has released the list of players invited for the upcoming fixtures. Featuring prominently on the list is band Emilio Nsue, as they commence readiness for the double-header matches. The Spanish-based attacker was suspended by FIFA from football-related activities after it was discovered that he was ineligible to represent Equatorial Guinea. The country also lost 6 from the qualifier, but the list released on Monday shows that they're ready to drag the World Soccer governing body to the appeal committee. They will face Tunisia and Malawi in the qualifiers. And that's a wrap on the news at this time. But before we go, another look at some of our top stories. We told you that President Bola Tinubu to mark a May 29th anniversary with address to joint session of the National Assembly. We also told you that Mali junta has arrested ally of Prime Minister. And finally, we told you that Chad government has announced new ministers. Don't forget to send in your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number on the screen. You can also follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. You can watch us live across these platforms: DSTV channel 422 Star Times, channel 274, Apple TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I am Dakbo at Digboy. See you soon.